Hi everybody, and welcome back to Kevin's Upfront Opinion today. So what I thought I'd speak about today is a friend of mine. Well, it's actually my best friend. I spoke to her on the phone today because he lives in Southampton, so I don't get to see him a great deal. But we've been friends for about 23 to 25 years. And he found out today that I had a daughter 16 years ago, I'd never told him about. Okay, knew absolutely nothing about it. Okay, and the thing was, he said to me, "Why didn't you tell me?" And the other thing he said to me was, "Why don't you see her? And what's it like not to see her?" Because I basically spilled my guts to him, mainly because, I don't personally have people to talk to. Okay, I don't really have friends. Yes, I'm married, got kids. Yes, I have family, but I don't really have family. People that I can speak to and have things to do with. My mum doesn't talk to me. My sister, not really, and my brother doesn't. So the only real people that I can speak to is normally when I go down to the allotment, and it's the old guys down there, or ladies, because you do get women down the allotment as well. Like I said, they're the main people I speak to. And I'd never told him about it. And the main reason I never told him was, and I'm going to try and say this without it coming out the wrong way, but in a way, I was ashamed. Been ashamed of myself for 16 years. And that's not because I had a child. Okay, I'd never be ashamed of my daughter. I was ashamed of what I did at the time. And shame's one of the worst things you can live with at the end of the day. Because when I had my daughter, it was just after I'd been seriously ill for a while, and he hadn't seen me, and I lost a lot of my memory at the time. And basically, my girlfriend at the time, I upset her. I upset her a lot, and I let her down. Now, if you spoke to my wife would say, "Why do you do these videos?" She might not even like you. She might not want anything to do with you. And she's correct. I can't argue with my wife. She is correct. She probably will. She'll probably hate my guts. Because I let her down. Not because I'm a bad person or a mean person or anything like that. I fundamentally failed and let my daughter down. And a lot of people will say to me, "Why did you let her down?" And it's something that, when I give a reason, it makes me sound really bad. And this is what it boils down to. Now, my ex-girlfriend, after what I said to her whilst she was pregnant, and a lot of people would probably absolutely piss themselves laughing. Okay, because she sent me a text message on my ex-girlfriend, Sophie Whittier, and that's her name. I'm not going to hide it. Okay. And I sent her a text. Well, she sent me a text message saying, I will always love you no matter what. And being a bit of a dick, because I've worked in sales for over 20 years. Okay. I sent her a text message back saying, "What even if I cheated on you?" And that's what I did. That's what I've been punished for 16 years, because I sent that one text message. And it was a stupid thing to write. Okay. But after we split up, she refused me access. She point blank refused me access. Okay, reached out to her. I got solicitors involved. She got sent solicitor letters. I thought, she's going to end up in court. And I don't want to end up in court. I really didn't. And I refused to do it. You know, one of my friends, a good friend of mine that I don't see anymore, even contacted Jeremy Cole Show. I contacted him 3 times. I know Jeremy Cole Show contacted her and they reached out to her and she refused to acknowledge it because she didn't want me in my daughter Amy's life. And she's on Facebook, Amy. And she just didn't want me in her life. And in the 16 years since she was born, because she was born back in August 2009, I've never seen her. Not seen her once. Well, you never know, I might have walked past her in the street for all I know. But I wouldn't know, because I've never seen her at the end of the day. So, the fundamental thing is, the first thing I've got to address is, it's my fault. Nobody else to, well, yeah, I could blame my ex because she didn't have to do this. She went out of her way to be spiteful. She only did it for herself. She didn't do it for Amy, to protect Amy. No, I'm a person, as a taxpayer. I've run businesses. I run a newspaper. I'm known by politicians, councillors. I've worked on charities, hospital charities. I've worked for the League of Friends. I've worked on hospital radio. I've worked on community newspapers. You know, never broken a law in my life. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. So, you know, I'm pretty much clean. Anything that most mothers wouldn't want for somebody, their daughter, to bring home, I'm innocent of all of those. I can't say that I've done any of those things. It's probably part of the problem, you know, in today's society and everything. So at the end of that, when it comes to my ex, Sophie, I don't actually really know what her problem is. I have spoken to her over the predecessor years. But it then brings you on to the question of, what is it actually like when you don't see your own children or child? And the reality is, it's hell. It's a living misery. Most of the time you don't want to be alive. You just wish a hole would swallow you up. You know, and I have to admit, you know, I remember earlier on this year, after my daughter Jemima asked me if she could see her sister, I remember doing a video about it. I thought, what do I do? How do I tell my daughter that she's never going to see her sister? No matter what I do, there's no way that her mum's going to allow it to happen. And I ended up doing a really long-winded video, and it was about 17, 18 minutes long, and I went and put it on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and I put it in the newspaper, and then shared it in lots of groups. And my ex found out about it. Oh, God. That was an interesting phone call, and I got a phone call off her. It was actually quite funny as well in some ways. And that night, I slept for about half an hour to an hour, what I know of, which for somebody like me isn't good, because I suffer from 3 types of epilepsy, which is why a lot of the time when people see my eyes going and saying, oh, you should be looking straight into the camera, and I'm not, and that's actually the reason why. And after that, I literally tanked. I went downhill. Never went uphill because obviously I got in a bit of contact, even though it was by phone and messages on Facebook. I went downhill, and within 4, maybe 5 days, I ended up being suicidal. A friend of mine came down to the beach because he found me crying on the beach, and he thought I was literally going to kill myself and walk out into the Solent because I live right by the beach. My wife threatened to section me, and I got made to go to the doctors and go into counselling, which I refused to do. Me counselling? What do I need counselling for? There's some idiot to tell me how much I've messed up my life. I don't need somebody to tell me that. I already know that. And I don't want people's sympathy for that. And I got put on antidepressants, which I'm still on to this day. But the reality is, it don't make you feel any better. Because before I had that conversation with my ex, which was 4 months ago, I buried it. I had buried it for 15 years. Like men do, they pretend things haven't happened and they don't exist. And I was living my life a lie. I was still miserable. It's like my wife would say to me that she knew that there was something was wrong with me, but I wouldn't speak to her about it. And she didn't really want to know anyway. Mainly because she knows I wouldn't speak to her anyway. So it didn't really matter. I wouldn't speak to anybody about it. I wouldn't speak to my family about it. Didn't want to speak to anybody because I was just lived up my life miserable. And the only thing that made me happy was working every hour as God sent. If that meant I was up from 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'd work until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, because that was the only thing that would give me any gratitude. But it didn't really fill the hole, because the hole was always there, and it always has been. So the reality is, how do I survive now? The thing is, I don't. I still go out to work, do what I need to do, and I'm miserable every day. I make my wife's life a living misery. I make my kids' lives absolutely miserable, as my wife would normally tell me, well, some of the time anyway. So the reality is, you don't. The only way that you can ever deal with it, in my opinion, is if I got to see my daughter, or if it was somebody else, to see their child. Now, I know I could almost put money on it that I won't see my daughter. I'd put any money on it that it won't happen. Mainly because my ex is that spiteful, and our family are, because they're more concerned about what they'll lose, and me actually telling her what actually happened. And maybe I judged that on my mum's own behaviour because of what she did when me and my sister were youngsters, because she did exactly the same. So I'm going to judge my ex Sophie by the same brush as my mother at the end of the day. So when it comes to the question, how do you cope? The reality is you don't cope. There's no way you can cope. You know, I'd love to be able to say, tonight I'll go to bed, I'll go to sleep nice and easily. And it's like somebody that I used to play cricket with. I discussed it with him the other day. And I'll get up nice and refreshed in the morning, and I'll go and have a nice day. But I won't. None of that will happen. The only way that happens is that my nightmare ends. But my nightmare isn't going to end. Short of my ex, Sophie, phoning me up, doing the right thing for the first time in her miserable life, and doing the right thing. But I know she won't. So, but that's where it is. It is what it is at the end of the day. And that's life, you know. So what I will continue doing is being miserable all the time. You could say that this is just a sob story. I'll continue doing our birthday cards, which get put in my drawer under the stairs where all my business stuff is. Okay, I will continue writing a Christmas card, which is put in the same drawer. You know, I've already got my daughter Amy's Christmas card for this year. Her birthday card is still there, waiting for her. If she wants to come and pick it up, she can come pick it up at any time. You know, she don't even need to come and speak to me if she doesn't want to. You know, all her birthday cards and Christmas cards are in my drawer for the last 16 years. And to be honest, not even my wife knows I buy her a birthday card and Christmas card every year. But they are there. So that's the real reality. So this is what I'm going to say. Right, I'm going to put my ex and my daughter Sophie and Amy Whittier to the side for now. And I'm going to speak to any woman that considers doing this to any man. Okay, or any man that decides to do this to a woman because they've managed to get custody. Don't. You want to destroy a person? Because you don't just destroy that father or mother who's being alienated. You destroy the child for the rest of their life. The person you hurt the most is not the parent, it's the child. So I would ask you to ask yourself a question. How much damage do you personally want to cause for your own personal selfishness? Because that's what I'm going to say. Because you are selfish if you do it. Now, I can say it because I've been on both sides. I'm currently on the side from alienation from my daughter. Now, my daughter's well, I assume she's at college. I don't actually know if she's at college because she left school earlier on in the year, so she's 16 years of age. Now, I know from my own personal experience, because my mother did exactly the same, and I know other people that had it done to them as kids. The only person and the main person you will seriously damage is that child. You will psychologically damage them. They will go through the rest of their life thinking they're not loved and cared. And if they find out the truth, you will lose them like that. That's how quickly you will lose them, because they will never trust you again. And the other problem is they will go through their life not trusting a damn person. So before you do it, think. Think before you do it. Because I'm telling you, you will regret it for the entire of your life. You know, me and my mum, we don't even speak because I know what she did. And that's not the only reason. I speak to my father more. You know, I never saw my father until I was 19. So I would suggest to anybody that does consider it or is doing it, quit it and don't even think about doing it. If you're doing it at the moment, get in touch with the other person. I don't care how much you hate them. If you hate them that much, make them see them through a contact centre. Do the right thing. So I'm going to quit it there for now. Obviously, anybody that's listened to me for 21 minutes, God, you're brave. 21 minutes of listening to me. Obviously, if you enjoyed the video, please do give us a like and share. If you're new to the channel, please do follow, give us a follow or subscribe as well. But for now, thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you all again a bit later.